Praise the Lord, saints and friends. This is Elder Adrian Heyman on another in a series of lessons on our journey through Genesis. And we just begun what the Lord was giving instructions to Noah regarding what was going to take place after the flood. They were just taken off of the ark. The animals had begun to disperse, and God is continuing to speak to Noah as the one who is leading his family. Now you got to remember, as far as he knows, there is no one else living on the planet Earth. As far as he could see, the earth is trying to recover from a devastating flood. And so he needs assurance. He needs guidance. He needs direction. And God has given that to him at this particular time. So verse number 8, chapter number 9 says, "And God spake unto Noah, and to his sons with him." I forgot to mention that God not only spoke to Noah, but he also spoke to Shem, Ham, and Japheth, his sons. So essentially, those four heard what God said. So no one could say that, he spoke to Noah, but Noah forgot to tell us. No, they were all in on it. Of course, they had to tell their wives, and then their children after that. But just understand that God made this clear to both Noah . I want to see if we can get this straight. Of course, I've been having signal problems in certain spaces. I thought this would be an okay space. Let's see if we can continue. But verse number 8 says, "And God spake unto Noah and to his sons with him, saying, And I, behold, I establish my covenant with you and with your seed after you." So this was to be pretty much an agreement between God and man for as long as man was on this earth, or is on this earth. He is making what is called, he is not making a bilateral. It's not saying that essentially, if you do this, I'll do that. If you do this, I'll do the other thing. But I'm going to make this promise to you that no matter what you do, I will keep my word. And there are certain times when God will make such a promise. And that is to smooth the fears that one may have. And in this case, remember, it was a flood that came from several sources. Rain, excess rain in the sky. The windows of heaven were opened, letting loose all the water that was above the firmament. And then the fountains of the great deep were also broken up, that they began to push their waters through. So there had to be some agreement, some promise that God would have to make to assure them that this would not happen again. So he established his covenant with Noah and with his seed. That means any of their offspring, and after that, and after that, and after that, and after that. But not only to their seed, but with every living creature that is with you, of the fowl, of the cattle, and of every beast of the earth with you, from all that go out of the ark to every beast of the earth. That includes every species that God is making this covenant with. Now, understanding that animals can't quite comprehend, so it's notable that he makes a covenant with the animals as well. And I will establish my covenant with you. Neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of a flood. Neither shall there any more be a flood to destroy the earth. I want you to make sure that we get this straight. That God is saying, I will never anymore cause a flood to wipe out the entire earth, the entire animal and human population of the earth. That will never happen again. That's what he's saying. This will never happen again. We saw what happened, and the destruction that it caused is not that God was surprised. He wasn't. But he had to assure Noah and his group. They just lived through it. I'm sure that there may have been times in the ark where they may have had nightmares of it happening again. And he had to calm their fears. This will never happen again. Waters won't come from the sea raging out. Of course, there will be some tsunamis. There will be some floods. The sea levels may rise. But it will never cover the entire known world ever again. Which means that essentially there will be ways of escape. But it also means that he didn't say it would never be a flood, period. As there will be sometimes things that happen. Floods may come forth, rivers overflow their banks, sea levels rise and fall. Some things may happen that cause the sea level to rush over land. I'm sure that when it's, I keep being reminded of the tsunami that hit the Indian Ocean and Indonesia especially, and the tsunami that hit Japan. And I could see the waters going through, and there were cars trying to outrun the tsunami. So we know that essentially these things happen and will continue to happen, but they won't cover the entire globe. Mishaps will happen. That's part of the human experience. But humanity will not be destroyed by water. However, he just said by water. Because the next time the world, God has to rain judgment upon the earth, it won't be water. Someone said, it's going to rain. It's going to rain. You better get ready and bear this in mind. God showed Noah the rainbow sign. It won't be water, but fire next time. So it's not that the Lord will not destroy the earth again. He didn't say that. He said he won't destroy the earth by water. So let's make sure we get this clear. But at that particular time, Noah didn't care about fire. They didn't have the type of fires that we have nowadays, whereas we have. I'm going to keep going with this. That the fires will not, as large as some states. So Noah didn't know about those types of fires, the ones that have ravaged entire towns and cities, or even, of course, here in LA, we know about the Palisades fire. And I've been to that neighborhood before, and to wipe out all of that area. Very affluent place. and they eat in fire, not that far away. Entire communities for blocks and blocks and blocks, for square mile upon square mile. Nothing but ruins. Noah didn't see that. So at that particular time, again, to comfort Noah, floods would never happen again. So let's make sure that we have it straight, saints. God never said he would never destroy the earth again. He said he would never destroy it by water. And he's kept his promise. Didn't say that certain portions of the world may not be inundated by floodwaters, like, for instance, New Orleans in Hurricane Katrina. Or the disaster took place over in North Carolina after Hurricane, I believe, was Helena. Floods will happen, but not floods that end up destroying all life. So, what he says here now is, in verse number 12, and God said, "This is the token of the covenant which I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for perpetual generations." So this is an agreement he made with Noah. I do set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth. And people may say, well, the rainbow, yeah, we understand. It's an event, but there's a scientific meaning behind this, and it's true. But that doesn't mean that God didn't put it there. But God allowed the properties of water in the atmosphere and how the light hits it in a certain way to form a rainbow in the clouds. He didn't say there was gold at the end of the rainbow. He didn't say that the gods travel upon the bow. He just said very simply, I make a bow in the clouds. That every time you see it, and be honest, think about it, every time we see a rainbow, it lets you know that either the rain is about to end, or that the rain is, in fact, that's what it pretty much says. The rain's about to end. You see a rainbow in the clouds, usually by another 30 minutes to an hour or so, the rain stops. If it hadn't stopped already by the time the bow was there. So it was very important for Noah to see that phenomenon. Now understand that it's very likely that it didn't rain like that during all of the time before the flood. But every time it rains now, and you start getting upset and start getting antsy about it, I will put the rainbow in the clouds. See, sometimes God will give us a token for us. May not be the same for you as it is for me, but it will assure you that God is with you, that he will keep you, and he will watch over you, that he won't leave you nor forsake you, that you won't be perpetually in trial, but that the Lord will give you rest. So you can continue to walk in his word, believing that he has you. And sometimes we have to understand that very thing, that the Lord has us. We don't know how much, because we can be very scary creatures. But God understands. He understands us, and he knows our need. So right now he's telling Noah that even when it rains, at length I will show you my covenant, and you will know this is not a rain that will destroy the earth. Verse 13 again. I do set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth. And it shall come to pass, when I bring the cloud over the earth, and that the bow shall be seen in the cloud, and I will remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh, and the waters shall no more become a flood to destroy all flesh. I might as well finish with this. And the bow shall be in the cloud, and I will look upon it, that I may remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is come upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, this is the token of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh that is upon the earth. God didn't have to do that. He did it specifically to calm the fears of both man and beast. As they look in the sky and they wearily look and they see clouds and they see rain, they say, oh, rainbow. Now we understand. Now, of course, today, the rainbow is a symbol of something else that is not necessarily godly. Take that back. Not godly, period. But that's not what the purpose of the rainbow is for. Rainbow. So we can continue to use the rainbow, saints. But it depends upon the purpose which we use it. It's because something else takes it and uses it for their own purpose doesn't mean the original purpose is not valid. So keep using the rainbow, but maybe explain why you use it. And then that gives us a reason to also thank God for what he has promised unto us without us even being worthy of it. He's still giving it to us. Just something to think about. May God bless you. May he keep you. Take care, everyone. God bless you in Jesus' name.